Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of this weekend's Weekend Roundup. Now, in part 1, we took a look at all of the mods that were newly released this week that were vehicles or implements. And in part 2, we are going to take a look at all of the new mods that were released this week that are placeables or scripts. And there were a ton of placeable mods released this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in to these mods and take a look at them in a bit more detail. So first up, we kind of have a crossover mod. Is this a placeable? Is it a vehicle or implement? Well, it's definitely not a vehicle or implement. We have portable shelves, and we've got quite a few of them. We've got a portable shelf 3.5 meters by 1.5 meters tall. We have 3.5 meters by 3, so a double decker. We have a 7 meter by 1.5 or a 7 meter by 3. And we have a 10.5 meter by 1.5 or a 10.5 meter by 3. So these range in price from $500 down to $300, $250, $700, and $550. Now the pricing is a little odd here. Why would a one shelf 10.5 meter shelf be $700 and a double-decker shelf of the same length only be $550? And interesting. So if we take a look here, all of the shelves have the same configuration options. We are talking about a design color, which is basically the shelf aspect, and then the main color, which is the riser aspect. $2,056 if we repaint these things. Wow, that is an expensive paint job. So $2,050 if we paint them, $104 to lease, $20 per day, and $43 per operating hour. So when we buy them, we basically get them palletized here. And of course, depending on the size of the shelf, depends on basically the size of the pallet. And basically, since they're portable, well, what we do is we buy them here at the shop. We'll have to load them up on a trailer and basically drive them to where we want to use them at. Okay. Let's pretend we want to use them over here. Drop them down. And if we walk up to this thing, we can enter it. And once we're in it, we can unfold the portable shelf. X. Some cool animations going on here. Builds out the shelving network. And then we exit. Then we have our shelf. Now, one thing I'm curious on is how fixed is this shelf? Well, I worried that this would be basically unfixed. The reason I worried about that is that if you go and try to put this shelf, fill the shelf full of pallets, are you going to run into a condition where, well, trying to put pallets on here, you basically end up bumping the shelf and knocking everything off of it. I was kind of hoping that when you would unfold this, that it would somehow basically become fixed in the ground, but it is indeed completely and utterly portable. But again, if we walk up here, we enter it, and then we can X to fold it up, and we basically get the reverse animation, which itself is pretty cool. I like the concept, but I'm a little worried about the fact that these shelves are so free when they're on the ground. I'm worried you're going to run into them, you're actually going to clip them, and everything that's stacked in them is going to go all over the place, or that as a result of trying to stack something on them with Giants physics, you're going to go and, well, have an utter disaster on your hands. I was kind of hoping that when you unfolded them, they kind of became a fixture of the ground, if you will. They became pseudo-permanent, placed, if you will. There you go. That is the Portable Shelf by NecoPix, and it is available for all platforms. All right, so next up we have the Placeable Province of Quebec flag. This mod is by Kev the Canadian, and it is available for all platforms. So if we go to here under Placeables, and let's take a look here under Miscellaneous. That seems to make sense. Nope. Decoration. That probably makes better sense. There we have the Province of Quebec flag. So if we spin this around, it does spin on its center axis there. Let's put that down. On over here, you can see it does change the ground a little bit, puts a little dirt texture down. And it is basically the in-game flagpole with the Province of Quebec flag texture. There you go, guys. That is the Province of Quebec flag by Kev the Canadian. And it is available for all platforms. Next up, we're going to take a look at the LaMarchoise farm building by ETA LaMarchoise. And we're going to find that here under Sheds. We have the LaMarchoise farm building, $18,500. Let's see here. Spin this. We spin it on its center axis there. Let's put it down. Go. Let's turn that on. Here we have the LaMarchoise farm building. Nice wood texture on the top. We've got that kind of formed concrete, molded concrete texture on the bottom. No lights in here, so it is going to get kind of dark here at night. Let's just see, do we have tip collisions on the walls? We do indeed have tip collisions on the walls, so we could tip root crops or loose product into here without any problem of it leaking out. We have a low roof on the side for your smaller vehicles or implements. There you go, guys. That is the LaMarchoise farm building, and it is available for all platforms. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Open Shed by Stoneway Design. And again, it is available for all platforms. Go here. We're going to look for the Open Shed right here by Stoneway Designs. $4,200 to buy. Let's rotate that, and boy, that is a little shed compared to the farm building that we just put down. Put that over here as a little bit of a size comparative. Didn't realize how big this building was until you look at how little this building is. Got some interesting texture going on here in the upper corner. I don't know what's going on with that. Kind of some light bleed or something. Then we've got kind of a full covered wood slat roof. Again, no lights on the inside of this. It's a nice small shed for tractors or narrow implements. And it is by Stoneway Design and is available for all platforms. Next up, we have the large timber frame barn by Monolither LS Mod Company. Go to Sheds. Here we have the timber frame barn. We have two different variants. $21,400 for this one. Rotates on its center. That one right there. Then we have timber frame barn 2, $28,540. $12 a day for this one, $10 a day for that one. Bit bigger. Go. So this one does change the ground texture also to kind of a concrete texture. Freaky old doors. Look at that cool little animation on the second door. Kind of had like a little pull stick that came out. I guess maybe to unlock the door. Yeah, it unlocks the door. That bracket up there, let's look at that again. It's kind of locked in place. That's pretty cool. Nice texturing on the inside and outside of this. Wonder if we can climb the ladder here. No, can't climb the ladder. Can go up these steps. We can kind of put pallets up here or whatever. And more steps. Yeah, so now we can get up here into the loft. Maybe. Maybe not. Alright, well, if you all figure out how to get up here in the loft, let me know. I do like these mods where we have multiple levels, multiple layers to them. Really nice looking buildings if you're looking for a kind of an older looking, maybe European farm. Loft over here. Really cool building. Up here. Got up here this time. Can't keep me down. Can't keep me out of the loft. How about that? Oh. This kind of changes. We've got a little dirt on the floor over there and then concrete on this side. We have more floors over here. We have even more storage here around the back. Pretty cool building. I like this. Just a lot. And this is the large Timberframe barn pack by Modelizer from LS Mod Company. And it says in the description that this barn has a snow mask, or a season's mask, so it is ready to be placed into a season's prepared map. Next up, we have the bin grain silos extension. So for that, we're going to need to put down a silo. So let's put down this 100,000 liter silo. Put it right here. And we'll see here that we have 100,000 liters in our owned silo. So now if we go to silos again, we have the bin 20 and the bin 60 for 28,000 liters and 58,000 liters. $20,000 for this little old extension. Let's put it right next there. We have this one a little bit bigger. Put it right next to that. And now, if we look, we'll see now we have 100,086 liters of storage capacity because we put these little bins in. They're kind of cute, kind of small. If you don't have a large site, because the in-game silo extension is kind of big in comparative. There you go. It gives you kind of a smaller option. If you only need to store a little bit more grain, you don't need to put something down this massive and huge. Put one of these other two bin grain silo extensions by Carras, and it is available for PC only. Next up, we have the Placeable Liquid Fertilizer and Herbicide tanks by Miss By, and it is available for all platforms. Now, the mod author that did this one also did the Placeable Fuel Tank mod that got updated this week. Let's put that one down. That one is the Liquid Fertilizer or Herbicide. Let's put two down. Put liquid fertilizer in one and herbicide in another one. And I have over here a tank, the Holger Sinstock T8, I believe it is. So if we go here under crop protection, we have the HS8. So this is a mod that's in the in-game mod hub. Allows us to haul 8,000 liters of liquid fertilizer, herbicide, or diesel fuel. We're going to pull up here to our first one. And we're going to overload into our tank. We're storing liquid fertilizer in the tank at this point. And then we're going to fill this up with herbicide and put it in that tank. And then we're going to come out here and we're going to pull product out of each tank. So it's going to take a little bit of time, so let me go ahead and do a little editing, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so we've got 8,000 liters of herbicide in here. So now we're going to start to overload into our other tank. And once again, we're going to do some creative editing. So when we come back, we will have 8,000 liters in each tank. And each tank, by the way, holds 50,000 liters of product. All right, so we have emptied our tanks. Now let's go ahead and see if we can't fill this up with liquid fertilizer. So we'll pull up here, and now we can pull liquid fertilizer out of this tank. 8,000 liters, basically. Or if we go over here, we can pull out 8,000 liters of herbicide out of this tank. So there you go, guys. That is the placeable liquid fertilizer and a herbicide tank. And if you're not sure how you fill product, then you can use the HS8 mod by Holger Senstock. Next up, we're going to take a look at the French sheds by DMI 20mm Normandy. We're going to find those under sheds in placeables. This mod is also available for all platforms. We have the French sheds right here. We've got this one for $30,000. Well, they're both for $30,000. So let's go ahead and let's put it over here by the Quebec sign. And it has some French heritages. There are the two French sheds. Have an I-beam and steel construction, some wood there for our ceiling joists, block, steel, all kinds of different materials. And when we put this down, we do get some textures on the ground, a little bit of trash, some other random things in here to kind of decorate it up a little bit. Although I have to say, this one being right here in the middle of the bay kind of makes this bay a bit less useful than all the other bays. Here we have the other building. That one is kind of a three-sided building with a roof. This one is a two-sided building with a roof. Pretty nice looking buildings. Again, the French sheds by DMI 20mm Normandy. It is available for all platforms. Next up, we're going to take a look at the wool storage. This is a global company mod, so you will need global company to be installed and activated. Let's go ahead and put the wool storage down. Rotates on its center here. Put that down here. And if we move up here, go left control G. For global company, we have wool storage. And open that, and we can see basically it holds 200,000 liters of wool and outputs 400,000 liters of wool. Interesting. Let's see here. Where is the... See if I can spawn in some pallets. Figure out where this thing takes them at. So let's try to put some pallets right here. If I can't spawn in a few wool pallets. There we go. So let's do that. Let's get my tractor over here and just push these around a little bit. This mod is by Zottel Zocket, and it is available for PC only because it is a global company mod. It does have that requirement. Now, the description says that we can store wool pallets and packs them around 10,000 liter pallets. And we have a capacity of 60,000 liters. That's kind of interesting. Let's see if we can't put some more in here. Alright, that should be enough. Let's hit R. Does R work? So we have 27,000 liters of wool in here. Okay. Yep, 27,000 liters of wool. And let's see if we can output, spawn. Yeah, it says 10,000 liters of wool on a pallet. It's not letting me do that. Interesting enough. Here. Why would it not be letting me spawn out a pallet? Control G. Storage. Output. Alright, well, this would really get your goat. You went and stuck a bunch of wool in here and you couldn't get it out. I'm not really sure why I'm not being able to get wool out of here. Got 27,000 liters of product in there. Try one more time. Well, we'll come back to that one later. Maybe it just needs some period of time to actually register that there's product in it. But, I mean, it's got a indicator on there. I don't know. I think it would work, right? It's in the Mud Hub, right? It would work. Think, right? All right. Hey, guys, and next up, we're going to take a look at the Placeable Details Pack, and we are over here in Felsburn. Now, typically I do all of these segments in Ravenport on a map that I have prepared for placeable testing and various other things. But I thought it appropriate to do the Placeable Details Pack over here on Felsburn. Now, this mod is by Camiso S0397. I have a really hard time sometimes with some of these pronouncements, but this mod is available for all platforms. And basically what we have here is, as the mod said, a Placeables detail pack. So if we go to Placeables and then Decoration, we have far more decorations now that we can put down than we have typically. So we have some barrels we put down. Put down some big tires. Big trash skip. Of course, we can rotate these however we want. Then we have a construction prefab 1. Let's put that over here. Prefab 2. Container. Small firewood stack. We can put that over here. Large firewood stack. Put that there. Firewood stack. A big firewood stack. Then around back. Food container round. All of these are $50 a piece. Pallet sack 1. Here we have some metal trash. 2 sack pallet. 3 sack pallet. 4 sack pallet. Although that looks like a whole lot more than 4 sacks. Pallet truck. Pallets with buckets. Saw table with all kinds of wood scraps. Silo stack pile. Details set. Interesting. Trash set 1. Set 2. Set 3. Wooden planks. And there you go. So all kinds of stuff we can put in here. Various decorative things. The bucket looks like we need a bottom to the bucket, but at any rate. So this can really bring a farm or even part of an area, Placeable's area, kind of a bit more to life than just having a pristine looking type of environment. So that's kind of why I thought I would bring it over here to Felsburn, as well there just seems to be a lack of overall trash map. And I would be worried that if we did it on Ravenport, you wouldn't recognize the placeable trash for all of the regular trash that is already on the map. So I thought I'd come over here where we have a fairly trash-free map and put some placeable trash down. So it really stood out, and you could really see what it would look like if maybe Felsburn had some actual trash scattered around. They all look pretty good quality. Now, a couple of these looks like maybe the clear area needs to be redefined because we do have grass coming up through that. Overall, it looks pretty handy. Now we placed this wood stack here, placed this one right here, and then we placed another one around the corner. So guys, that is the Placeables detail pack, and it is available for all platforms. Oh, this is the one we put down. There you go, guys. We'll jump back over to the to Ravenport. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Metal Shed. This is by Simulator Games, and it is also available for all platforms. So once again, we're back into our sheds category. And we have the Metal Shed, $25,000 to buy. 4 meters between the pillars. So now, I like how you can, the mod author has told us how wide is the maximum thing that we can bring in here. And this is a really nice looking old school shed. We've got the, it's supposed to be sand or something. Got some other stuff. We got some headphones. Ear protection has been wrapped around there. That's pretty cool. Looks like some food. Come on, man. Put it in the trash can. Motor oil, some fuel, some more trash. Got a cool extension cord has been wrapped around there. That's pretty neat. Paint brushes. Overall, looks pretty cool. Now, there are lights, but I don't see any sort of light switch on here. Lights must come on automatically at night. There you go. That is the Metal Shed by Simulator Games, and it is available for all platforms. Next up, we have the British Sheds by DMI 20mm Normandy again. We have the British Shed new, $10,000. And the British Shed old, no textures, no texture. Uh-oh. Looky there, guys. How is that possible? How is that possible? Seriously, people, this mod came out 2 days ago as of the production of this video. So how can this seriously have a 4.5 stars? 28 people have rated this. 4.5 stars on average. We don't have textures. Right there. Can't load resource. All I did was load it in the game and try to place it. Let me know if this happened to you guys with this particular mod. What is going on? Well, we'll move on. Next up, we have the Vehicle Shelter by AAA Modding. This mod is also available for all platforms. Once again, in our sheds, we have the Vehicle Shelter. Rotates on its center. Looks to be an open-sided building, kind of an older-looking building. Dirtied up, weathered, is raised. Does raise up off the ground a little bit. If you're looking for an old, weathered shed, well, this thing just might fit the bill for you. Does have lights under here, so I do just assume these lights turn on after dark. Once again, I do not see any sort of light switch on any of the posts. There you go. That is the Vehicle Shelter by AAA Modding. All right. One more building to go. And then we're going to take a look at 3 animal areas. So we have the Container Office by Farmer Boy Modding and Maverick 74. So we're going to find this actually not here under sheds. We're going to find it under farmhouses because it does have a sleep trigger. Go ahead and spin this around. Put this one down here. And here we have the Container Office. Basically, it's a bunch of shipping containers that have been put together to form a building. Got kind of an underbuilding storage there. Nothing on the side, on the back. Then we have a nice metal staircase leading up upstairs. Door. That's kind of... Man, that is a fast animation. Guy just whams the door open and then opens it slow. Then once we get inside, we have the sleep trigger. Sim 19. We got nice couches. Nice little setup. Kind of a work office. Yeah, that door. Slow and then slam. Whoa. I'm going to hit you right in the face. Don't do that. Alright, that is the Container Office again by Farmer Boys Modding Maverick 74, and it is available for all platforms. Let's roll over here. I think enough time has lapsed that this thing should work. Alright, seriously, how much wool do you have to... There we go. Finally it registers it. Alright, let's spawn one pallet out. It took kind of a while. What the heck? Alright, seriously, how did... That seems a little silly. Now, how did 10,000 liters of pellets... Let's go do this. So how did 10 of these magically get compressed down to that? That seems a little silly. I was expecting kind of a giant wool module that said 10,000 liter pallets. Seriously, it's got to sit in there for how long? I mean, that was a long time. We covered, how many buildings? We covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other buildings in the time that it took for that thing to actually process the input. Unless you are hard set on using this because you're a global company fan, seriously, I would use the GTX wool storage. It's like instantaneous. You put a bale in, you take a bale out. Here, it's like it's keeping your bales ransom for what? 10 in-game minutes or something? And then you can finally get it out. Alright, any rate, let's take a look at the first animal area. We have the Cows Barn by Camiso 0397. This mod is available for all platforms. Go to Animal Pens. Of course, we have the in-game cow pasture, $100,000 for 50 cows. The large cow pasture, $300,000 for 200 cows. And then we have the cow barn. Cow barn with shed. So we have the cow barn. We have two different variants of this. $100,000. Spin it around so we can go one of 4 different angles. There's the cow barn. Let's see what the cow barn with shed. $5,000, and we get a little shed doohickey on the back. Put that one in there. And this holds 100 cows each and $100 per day. So really, really nice texturing on this thing. That looks really, really nice. Lights. Lights on and off. Looks like here we have possibly our milk trigger. We'll have to see about that. Open the gate. We can buy some cows. Go. Yeah, this would appear to be our milk trigger over there. The way that is all set up. Really nice quality textures on this building. Really, really nice to say. Here we have our feed trough and our straw trigger. And then we have this. We have our water trigger right there. Assume that's going to be our water trigger on the outside of the building. And then we have our slurry trigger and our manure pile right here. And then we have the building with shed, which is pretty much the same as this building, except we have a little shed extension around the back. Kind of fit your bill there. And you can obviously use that probably to store your straw, your hay, or whatever other products you want. Your implements for feeding and watering your cows. Again, that is the cow barn. Really nice looking cow barn by Camiso's 0397. Anyway, it's down in the description, down in the lower third. So when I mispronounce it, it's not butchered. And this mod is also listed as being seasons ready. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Cowshed by DMI 20mm Normandy and NLD Masslands Mods and Ben Haas. All those names are down in the lower third. Have the cow pasture, $500,000 to buy this thing. This thing is huge. There's once again one of 4 different angles. Let's clear some of this stuff out of the way. Okay. And this holds 150 cows. There we go. We're right in the middle of it. This has some pretty good looking textures to it also. Door looks a little flat, a little shiny, but hey, it's okay. So that door doesn't open. Let's back. This is probably going to be our milk trigger. It's definitely not our animal trigger. It's probably going to be our milk trigger there. And our food trigger in our straw trough, probably. Food trough and straw trigger. Slurry. Would be nice if this kind of carved out a bit of the ground and we had a slurry texture there. Right now we're just seeing what was directly underneath the ground. Doors also cutting into the concrete. Been nice to have seen that kind of cut away. At this point, you know, we're being a little pickier because we are more than a year into Farm Sim 19 at this point. Wondering where the water trough is. We have our manure. Looks like we have straw trigger on this side. 2 troughs. Yeah, I'm not really sure where the water trigger is. Must be in here somewhere. But there's nothing obvious that would be where water would be. You wouldn't have water in here. You would have water in these little dishes. Where do you put it in order to put the water in those little dishes? Don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know where the water goes in the Cowshed by DMI 20mm Normandy, NLD Mossland Mods, and Ben Haas. Ben Hayes. All right, the last place we're going to take a look at today is the Pigshed, again by DMI 20mm Normandy. Pig enclosure. We have 2 different pig enclosures, a small one and a large one. 60 pigs and 90 pigs. There is the 60 pig one. This one's a nice long one. It's a 90 pig barn. Nice low-roofed pig barn. I have to say this would probably be at home in the United States also, opposed to being just a European-looking thing. Got our manure pile. This appears to be maybe where the food trough is. Slurry, once again, you can see the ground texture underneath that. It would be nice if we could have the slurry texture there. Maybe when you place it, the ground gets hollowed out a little bit, and then down a lower, you have the slurry texture. Then in here we have our buy trigger for our pigs. We have our straw trigger. food trough. And I'm guessing our water trigger is also in there. I don't see it. No lights in here. Are you guys are going to be in the dark at night. There you go, guys. That is the Pigshed by DMI 20mm Normandy. And this one is just a much, much longer variant of that. So you put a whole lot more pigs in there if you've got the space. All right, so now we're going to take a look at a couple script mods that were part of this week's releases. First up, we have the slower refueling mod. So let's see. Let's take this, and we can empty this of fuel. Yep. Let's take this down here to our fuel station. And what it does is it slows down the intake of fuel to 90 liters per minute. Now, being an American, I have no idea what 90 liters per minute is, if that's a lot or not. So I went to Google, and it told me that 90 liters per minute was like 23 gallons. I have to say, if I went to the fuel pump and I got 23 gallons out of a fuel tank, or out of a fuel pump, in 1 minute, I would be ecstatic. I think I'd have to hold the pump handle to keep it from like spewing all over the place, because 23 gallons a minute is blazing fast. So if this is slower at 90 liters per minute, then what on earth is the base rate? Oh. Go. So let's empty this of fuel. So we are now out of fuel, so let's go ahead and fuel this up. Somehow we got out of the fuel trigger. Start fueling. So I think the math on that is off. It's not 90. Well, I guess it's 90 liters per in-game minute. That's still pretty quick. Let's speed up the clock and see if this moves faster. Nope. It's not tied to in-game minute. Now that's pretty good. I mean, I don't have a clue how many liters of fuel this tractor holds, but that fuel gauge isn't too terrible bad. I was kind of ragged on it a little bit. Unless this tractor holds like hundreds of gallons of fuel, which I think would be a little misrepresentative of the amount of fuel that this thing holds, because right here is the fuel tank, right over here. That's a pretty decent slow fill rate. I'll give that. So that is slower refueling by Petar, and it is available for PC only. All right, next up we have the Nachrichten HUD by Sperrgebiet. Interesting name there. It is available for PC only, and what this does is it basically takes things that is usually in the F1 menu. Okay, right there it says selected steering, all wheel steering, and moves it out of the F1 menu and puts it up there at the top. Selected steering, all wheel steering, so we can front wheel, crab steering right, all wheel steering. See how that works? So anything that would typically be in the F1 menu there in the lower bottom, okay, front wheel steering there. I don't think this is going to do anything. Nope. All-wheel steering there on your telehandler. So in the description on the Mod Hub, it basically shows like, all right, let's get in this tractor. All right, so let's back up. So you can see it says start filling, where it's kind of a contrast. So if we get far enough away, then we get start filling as we pull up to the trigger. Let's go over here and maybe put some grain in. It says normal messages are shown in white. Messages related to an action are shown in yellow. Start filling. Product. Stop filling. Like that. There you go, guys. That is kind of the info Nachrichten HUD. I guess I could see it being useful if you like to have the F1 menu hidden, and then when you take something like this and you pull up to a trigger, you're going to see it pop up, start filling or stop filling. Basically, info related to if we were baling, the amount in each particular bale would show up there as the bales were made. Pretty much anything that's going to be at the bottom of your F1 menu, okay, under the number there, anything that it shows up under the bottom of the F1 menu would then show up here in the upper left of the screen with the F1 menu hidden. So, guys, the next thing we're going to do is break out of here and jump into the video editor, where we are going to do an analysis and a little bit of a breakdown on the harvest and planting schedules for the Seasons Geo that got released this week. So, guys, we're going to take a look at the Lonely Seasons Geo that came out this week, the North Trondelag Geo. This is for a part of central Norway, and we have yet again another cold Geo. I kind of find it ironic and comedic at the same point, where the last two crops that were added to Seasons, well, minus oats, I guess, some of the last two crops, cotton and sugarcane, are not very popular with the Seasons Geo mod authors, because it seems a lot of the mod authors are creating cold weather Geos. So here we go, another Geo where we cannot do cotton or sugarcane. In fact, when you first load this up for me, I had snow on the ground and it was snowing in early spring. You can see we have a very, very short planting schedule in the spring for wheat and barley, just early summer, early spring and mid-spring. And we can't plant canola at all until late summer. So we've got to go an entire year before we can actually harvest canola. We've got to plant it in late summer, and then we have until late summer the next year in order to get that crop out of the ground. We can only get sunflowers in the ground in late spring, and shockingly, we have a fairly long time period to put corn in the ground. Actually, it's longer than the base Seasons Geo is. We've got a fairly short window for potatoes and sugar beets also. Now, if we take a look here at the harvest schedule, we've got a fairly nice window to harvest our grains, wheat, barley, and oats, and canola, but we have kind of short schedules for sunflowers, soybeans, potatoes, and sugar beets, and actually a longer time to harvest corn than the base Seasons Geo. So it's kind of an interesting amalgam there of shorter time periods than the base Seasons Geo, and then the same time period as the base Seasons Geo, given the fact that I suspect we're going to have a fairly high chance of an early winter with this particular Geo. So guys, that is going to do us for this weekend's Weekend Roundup. Hope you all stick through both parts. Tell you, it took me all night to put this thing together and get it encoded for you guys. It is a busy busy week with Giants mod releases, and I suspect they're going to try to keep that trend up for the next couple weeks heading into the holiday and heading into the end of the year, because Giants will be taking a few weeks off toward the end of the year and into early 2020. So until next time, happy farming.